In situations where people are giving you advice or just general information that can help you and take you as a person to a next level, you should use active listening. When using active listening, it's important to really grasp on to what people are saying and sometimes even take notes because that information is just that important to that extent. I feel as if a lot of people like actively listen more, there will be less more problems and confusions in the world. But unfortunately, we're in a generation to where people don't listen and they're stubborn, and that's just unfortunate. In situations to where such as criticism or someone is telling you something to better yourself, you should use active listening. And it's important to grasp that information, not let it go in one ear and out the other, because the information is important and you never know when the next time you're going to hear some information like that. That's why I feel it's important to active listen in that situation. In many situations, I feel as if people should actively listen, but generally speaking, when someone is giving you, advice or giving you some advice from their experiences, you should always actively listen. I remember my grandpa used to give me all the life lessons, and even teach me some things that can change my life. I always actively listen because he's been through a lot and I respect him. But I would respect him just as much or show that same respect to all my elders because they've actually been through stuff. And in those situations, I tend to actively listen so I can grasp onto that information and pass it down to my kids, and my kids pass it down to their kids, all just to make everyone better. Also, I feel as if actively listening can, in many situations, broaden you as a person, elevate you as a person, and just uplift you. And there are many situations where I've had to use nonverbal communication over verbal communication. I remember one time at Rolling Loud in Houston, my friend was all across the mosh pit, like we're at least 400 yards away. And he was asking what time it was because he had something to do later that night. The music was so loud and everyone was jumping and screaming. And I just found somebody with a little step stool and I held up 8 fingers to just let him know it was 8 o'clock and he had to be somewhere at 9:30. It's important to use nonverbal communication when, verbal isn't allowed, or some situations you just can't use verbal. As related to the concert, I cannot use verbal communication. So I used nonverbal and it was direct, so my friend picked it up. And he also used nonverbal communication by pointing to his wrist, and that helped me in the situation as well.